In Russia, the technology for producing composites for aviation has been successfully scaled up. Now airplanes, helicopters, and drones have gotten rid of import dependence, which means the production of both already known and completely new models is accelerating. For example, the newest deck-based helicopter, Ka-65 Minoga. We will talk about this, as well as about the new Hero of the Week, after a brief summary of positive news. The Angara-12 rocket successfully launched from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome and put Ministry of Defense satellites into orbit. At the Krasnoye Sormovo plant, another RSD-59 dry cargo ship was launched. At the Eastern Shipyard, a Project 03141 fishing vessel was launched. An automobile engine plant has been opened in Kaluga. In the Tula region, a polymer production complex has been established. In Perm, the production of surdidophones and underwater fiber optic cable has begun. A production line for UAV printed circuit boards has been launched in Khabarovsk. One of the largest complexes of enterprises for the production of building materials in Russia has been opened in Zelenograd. In Tatarstan, there is production of trailer components. In the Irkutsk region, there is a rapeseed oil plant. Russian school children won 7 gold medals at the International Mendeleev Chemistry Olympiad in Kaluga, Tatarstan, Kaluga. In previous episodes, we have repeatedly introduced you to Russia's achievements in the field of composite materials production. Despite the fact that some items were produced in large quantities back in the Soviet era, we were already buying raw materials abroad at that time, particularly from Japan. And after the collapse of the Soviet Union, a significant part of the composite industry remained in Ukraine and other republics, where it quietly died out. As a result, Russia depended on foreign supplies for a long time, but even before the comprehensive sanctions, it set a goal to recreate the full production cycle on its own territory, and it accomplished this task brilliantly. Last year, for the first time in the country's history, our scientists managed to produce carbon fiber with a strength of 7 gigapascals. Previously, only 3 companies in the world, 2 Japanese and 1 American, had such technologies. Soon, Rosatom launched the country's first mass production of thermoplastic composites. This way, we completed the entire production chain from crude oil extraction to its processing into carbon fiber and final products made from it. However, that's not enough. Even mastering the full cycle does not guarantee the most important thing: introducing the technology into mass production. Fortunately, now we can say that this stage has also been completed. Here's how. Composite materials are now used in construction, the production of wind turbine blades, small-scale shipbuilding, and other fields. But the most in-demand and economically justified field is the aviation industry. Carbon fiber makes it possible to reduce the weight of products while making them stronger and more durable. And it was here that a promising domestic market opened up for Russian industry. After all, aircraft models like the Superjet 100 MC-21, IL-100 14300, and others urgently needed to replace the composites that were previously purchased abroad. Last week, it was announced that Yakovlev had completed the transition of the MC-21 aircraft as tail assembly to Russian-made composites. Earlier, similar measures were implemented for the wing and other airframe components. During the tests, specialists found that the caisson made from domestic materials withstood loads 2.5 times higher than the standard. This significantly exceeds the performance of foreign counterparts. Recently, iTecmo also launched mass production of a full range of high-temperature composites for key Russian aircraft engines PD-8 and PD-14, as well as for rocket and space hardware. And in early April, domestic technologies for the full cycle production of composite products for helicopter manufacturing were presented. Thus, we can see that these developments have not remained within the walls of laboratories, but are already being put into production. And this means that one of the most important limiting factors in the development of Russian aviation has been successfully overcome, which in turn gives hope that some very interesting projects will move faster. For example, such as the Ka-65 Minoga helicopter. The Ka-65 Minoga is the most mysterious project of recent years. The contract for the research and development work on its creation was signed in 2020, and in 2026, the helicopter was supposed to begin testing. But all these years, there hasn't been a single word about it. However, now there is unofficial information that the project is moving according to schedule and will begin testing this year. Here's what is known about it. The Ka-65 multi-purpose ship-based helicopter is designed to replace several models that were developed back in the Soviet era. Judging by the only available photo of the model, it is noticeably longer than the Ka-27, and in terms of size and payload capacity, is close to the Mi-38. At the same time, the traditional coaxial rotor scheme typical for the Komov Design Bureau is preserved, and the power plant used is the TV 7117 VK engine. It is likely that the helicopter will have both military and civilian versions, and its first carrier will be the newest universal landing ship of Project 23900, Ivan Rogov, which is currently being completed in Kerch at the Zalev shipyard. This is the very ship we are creating to replace the French Mistrals, and it will become the largest warship built in modern.
Похоже, что его достройка...
In Ivan Rogov, there will be Kiev, Kiev, in Kiev, Ivan Kiev, Kiev. This year, Ivan Rogov will be in Kiev. It was reported that it will contain many composite elements. Everything comes together at one point. Logic. Russian industry needed time to create a composite sector, almost from scratch, to go through complex stages of testing and certification. V. To introduce into the work Mi and Mi 38382, Mi 38382, and Mi 38382, and Mi 38382, 2, Mi 38382. That means we can expect even more modern airplanes, helicopters, and drones. We congratulate all the scientific institutes, design bureaus, and factories that participated in this complex process on their undeniable achievement. We will keep you updated in the next episodes. Next, the announcement and the story of the rescue. Europe has claimed nuclear autonomy, with France and Poland preparing joint exercises to practice nuclear strikes on Russian cities, and Finland's intention to allow the transportation of nuclear weapons through its territory. And other actions are fundamentally changing the balance of power not only in Eurasia but throughout the world. Paradoxically, this very problem may bring Russia, the US, and China closer together. After all, none of the three world powers is interested in Europe's autonomy, especially if it is nuclear. That's why the day is not far off when Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Xi Jinping will sit down at the same table to agree on how to move forward.